Alright, hi guys. I am going to show you a quick way that I enjoy my fall season. Definitely, as someone who lives in an apartment in New York City, fall brings the best part of the year, which is baking. I usually do not bake during summer or any other season. Well, winter too, but the cold season allows me to bake in my apartment without it feeling like hell. And I mean hell. It's gonna be burning in your apartment. Listen, it's not a joke. Now, I got two pears from my local supermarket. You can get it from your farmer's market, which I'll obviously recommend more than your local supermarket just because the pears will be fresh. Do not forget to wash your pears and your fruit and your vegetable before you cook and eat them. So again, two beautiful pears. I peel them. Make sure again. I think you can use them without peeling, but I'm not sure. I've never done that, but my assumption is if you make your bread or your this bread with non-peel pears, you might end up with very weird texture. So preferably, I will peel them nice everywhere. Don't leave anything else, so you don't want just weird texture spotty on your pear. I will peel both of them. I will keep using the same cutting board because I clean my pears, so they should be clean, and I can use the same um, cutting board to peel and also cut them. Again, as you see, I'm using a peeler just because it's easier. You can use your knife if you're skilled like that. I could, but again, it takes just a little longer, and I just don't want to deal with the hassle right now, honestly. Either way, it's whatever works for you. And you want to peel, clean out, take out the peel, put it away, put it in the garbage. I usually compost my food, my raw food. So I'll put it on the side so that I can bring it to the farmer's market and compost them. Feel a little bit better by myself, to be honest. Alright, so I will slice them. I will recommend to when you slice them to have the flat area of your pear to face down. So you see what I'm struggling there? I will face it down so that you have that secure area from the bottom so you don't cut yourself or don't do any weird things with the knife and end up chopping your fingers. We do not want that. So after I slice them, I will chop them. Now, how you want to chop your pears is really up to you, right? I prefer medium size, but again, it's up to you. So after slicing them and before chopping them, I degut them, so taking away them seeds because you don't want to eat seeds in your bread. That would be very strange if someone is just casually eating the bread and then end up swallowing this. I mean, it's not a big deal. Just not. It's not something you want. You wouldn't be a good experience eating seed out of a bread, even though, come on, with nothing, unless you are still afraid of growing a tree inside your stomach, which, to be honest, is still a fear of mine that was installed in me when I was a child. If you swallow a seed, you are growing a tree in your stomach, and when you sleep, you will have whatever fruit it was just coming out of your mouth. I don't want that. I'm an adult and I'm still scared of that. So no, 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 no seeds left in our fruit, please. Even my watermelon, I don't want seeds. No, pear, I don't care what it is. I don't want seed in my fruit and growing a whole tree inside my stomach. That's not gonna happen. I don't want that. So, anyways, I'll put that on the side. At this point, if you want to clean them again because that's just who you are, you can. For me, I'm already cleaned them and I'm gonna bake them, so I'm okay. And I will get ready to chop them up. Chop it, chop it. How you want to chop it, it's up to you. I usually do medium size. Again, I'm gonna continue chopping. Instead of taking a plate and putting my chopped pears on it, I'm just gonna take my baking pan already put on baking sheet on top of it and putting my pears on it, because again, I don't want to get any extra dishes dirty, because guess what, honey, I'm not trying to wash too much dishes. I'm already gonna wash enough dishes for baking and cooking all day. I am not trying to make it worse for me. And if there's anything, any kind of thing left over, take it out. You don't want to have those like weird leftover texture on your pears when you don't have to. Again, somebody's about to interrupt me. I'm sorry. I think he's gonna walk through right now. But anyways, I will continue cutting. This is just what happens when you don't live by yourself. Someone's always interrupting when you are doing something. And so again, now again, I'm still preparing my pears. I will take 2 tablespoons of room temperature butter. By room temperature, I mean I prep. You see, I told you someone was gonna interrupt me. He was talking over, and then when he left. So I took 2 tablespoons of butter. Now, the butter was left out way before I started baking, right? Just so that it doesn't melt per se. It's not like liquidly melting like oil, but it's still soft. I don't like baking with hard uh, butter, just like I don't baking with hard with soft like liquid one. Now I put 1 tablespoon of vanilla extra, not vanilla flavor, vanilla extra. Now this is the thing with vanilla extra, it's expensive. I know you can find a small one at your local grocery store for still more money than your vanilla flavoring. Although they are different, I personally do not care. Yeah, no, I'm not a professional baker. Okay, I want to be one day, but I'm more of into cooking than I am into baking. So again, use whatever is more comfortable to you. It didn't make a difference to me, but again, personal choices, right? So you can't really mix the soft butter with the vanilla, but you can try your best. I feel like it makes it it's better than if you just put the butter and then the vanilla on top of the pears, right? So now I will take that mixture, weird mixture obviously because liquid and fat rarely ever mix. Then I spread it around on your pears equally everywhere. Now, I would not recommend to use a foil in this case because your pears will stack on them and it will be it will be harder to take it out. And also just because foil, when you are mixing things around the foil like that, it can break and can chip. God knows what can happen. So I will not use foil. I will use a baking sheet. Now, I'm gonna go check on my oven that was supposed to be being preheated to a temperature of 400 degrees. I will also wash my hand and then put the pears in the oven. And now I will start making the streusel. I don't know how to spell that. You will see it. I mean, I don't know how to say it, pronounce it, but I will have it right here on the screen. Basically, this is the top layer of your bread, and it will mainly be made of old-fashioned oatmeal. Not your flavor oatmeal, not the fancy stuff. This is just straight out oatmeal. I will take one quarter of a cup of old-fashioned oatmeal. Put in there. I will take 1/4 cup of light brown sugar. Put in there. Just because I feel like the dark brown sugar gives it a darker color and it's not as interesting or it's not as folly, right? I don't know. And then I will take a 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour and I will put it in there as well. Now I will take a pinch, and I mean like a pinch of cinnamon. You can add more, right? It's really dependent on how much you like cinnamon. But at this point, you just need a pinch of it. All right, so now I'm trying to make sure I understand everything I want to do. Again, at this point I put 3 tablespoons of butter. Again, still the same kind of butter, unsalted butter, room temperature, soft, not hard. Again, you see, at this point I'm trying to add in chopped almond, just to remember that I'm not supposed to add chopped almond at this point. So I'm putting my chopped almond back. I was like, oh, sorry, I'm not supposed to do that. So I'm putting that on the side. Now, here's the thing. Obviously, your hand have to be washed, and if you are baking for your family, people who you live with, this is okay. I'm baking for myself and my family, so I'm gonna use my hand, my bare cleaned hand, to mix everything. I really do not use machines, just because I feel like I don't get to experience exactly where my baking, where it is and how the texture is, just because that's when it tells me when to stop or if I need to continue mixing. If I'm baking for others who are not family related, I will wear gloves and then change gloves as I'm changing steps. But either way, I will use my hand gloves or not, or clean hand or gloves, just so that I can know where I am in my baking process and I can feel the texture. I know where I need to be. So for example, in this case, when I'm mixing, I wanted to everything to mix to become one huge chunky, like doughy, not really doughy, but like chunky mixture, but there's no leftover um flour or leftover anything, right? So at this point, I'm gonna go check in I'm gonna go check in on my pears, because it's supposed to be in for 15 minutes, but I think I'll let it in there for a little longer. Again, continue mixing. You see how it looks like. It's like the bowl is clean. Everything is scrubbed over on the side. There's nothing stuck on the bowl. Everything can be stuck together, right? Now I know I'm almost there. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and add my 1/3 cup of chopped almond. How you want your chopped almond, honestly, is up to you. How you want your almond is up to you. I want my thinly sliced chopped, so it's still there, but like not too, it's not too tough, it's not too um it's not too almondy, it's not too nutty. I don't know what I'm saying, but you know what I mean. Depending on how you like your nuts in your baking goods, I want mine to be there, but not too hard to chew on, right? You don't want it to be stuck in your teeth, basically, or you don't want it to be too crunchy. You just want that perfect crunch that will bake well and go well with the bread or the softness of the peach, of the not the peach. Yeah, the peach. Sorry, I'm thinking about something else. Yeah, of the peach. So again, you see the consistency has changed because of we added the almond. It becomes more powdery, um, but still that thick buttery consistency and thickness stays there, but again it's more of a powdery consistency. So again, I don't want to wash too much dishes. I don't got time for that. Nobody got time for that. I'm gonna reuse the bowl where I mix my butter and my vanilla, put that in there and set it on the side because we don't need it yet. Even my peaches are not ready. My pear, what am I saying peaches? Oh goodness. Yeah, because I want to make peaches later after this. My pears are not ready. I'm gonna go in and check them. And so after checking them at this point, I've taken them I've taken them out to let them cool. They have to be room temperature cool, not in the fridge, not still hot. You want them to cool. Alright, so I'm gonna make the quick bread. So this is where now we are making the bread. I will take 2.5 cups of white all-purpose flour. Again, here, depending on what you can or cannot eat, you can pretty much use any flour you want. You can use whole wheat, you can use gluten-free, you can use any wheat, you can use bean wheat, like you can use bean flour. I feel like you are able to substitute any of this with what you would rather eat and what you are not allergic to, or what you prefer to eat for personal choices, right? I will try to bake like vegan and vegetarian options for the same recipe or the same bread, or at least the exact same thing, but just substituting with vegan vegetarian options. So again, here I'm gonna go check on my pears, make sure that I lower I turn off my oven, make sure that the pears are nicely browned and ready to be mixed in my flour, just to make sure everything is okay. And someone probably disturbed me. So let me see, where did I go? I can't remember. So again, make sure that you know what you're supposed to be doing. Keep track of every step. I need to turn off the oven because it was starting to get a bit hot in here. It's an apartment. It's in New York City. Listen, I don't know if there is any. Where's the pro of living in the city? Because I can drive. That's a pro. But other than that, honestly, if I could, I would live in a much bigger place with little monies. Little money. You spend little money in rent. Here, you spend big money in rent and get small places. Small places, big money. I want big places, small money. But anyways, so now we're gonna continue making our quick bread. So at this point, we're gonna add in the, baking soda, baking powder, and salt, also cinnamon. Okay, so I'm gonna go in with my 2 tablespoons of cinnamon first. Put it all in there because I already pre-measure. I don't know why I'm trying to be fancy. I already pre-measure my 2 tablespoons of cinnamon, so it all goes in there. I'm gonna take my baking powder, finding a clean spoon, taking my powder, my baking powder, and putting in a tablespoon of baking powder, a half tablespoon of, oh yeah, so I need to add a little more baking powder because I only put a half earlier. So now I'm gonna go ahead and put my baking soda, a half tablespoon of baking soda. It was taking me a while to open the box or the container. So yeah, put a half tablespoon of baking soda. And then I will put in a half tablespoon of salt. Again, it says here to use any fine sea salt. I didn't have fine sea salt. I had sea salt, but it's the chunky one from Trader Joe. I like it, but it wasn't fun, so I just used my fine Himalayan pink salt. It all gonna end up looking the same only. Again, you can use your regular salt from your regular supermarket. I ain't tripping. I don't think it makes that much of a difference. Salt is salt, unless obviously you shouldn't be eating salt because you are sick. So now I'm gonna go ahead, mix it, all the powder, make sure that it becomes a uniform mixture and there's no difference. It becomes a nice light brown mixture. Now that's done. I will go ahead and put that mixture in a bowl. And that's because the quick bread will be made in steps and I want the flour, the now light brown flour with cinnamon, baking powder, baking soda, salt on this side. So at this point, I'm gonna reuse my big bowl. My big red bowl is what I'm going to reuse, just because, again, yogurt and washing dishes. I'm not here for it. I cook. I hate washing dishes, but I love cooking. It's a terrible combination. I will take my half-cup vegetable oil. Here you can use any light neutral oil you have. Any light neutral oil. Again, even if you want to use the olive oil there, go for it. I don't know how neutral olive oil is though. But anyway, you can use olive oil. You can use any oil you want. It's not that serious. So I added my last 2 tablespoons of unsalted. So I've added my butter, I've added my oil, and I've added how many cups? I've added 2 cups of sugar. Yeah. So I've added 2 cups of sugar. I had to check and make sure that everything was good. 2 cups of sugars in there. 2 tablespoons of soft room temperature butter. Half-cup of light neutral oil. Now, mixing and mixing and mixing. And again, at this point, you can use a machine if you wanted to, right? I'm not against anyone using bread mixer or any kind of electric mixer that you have at home to make it easy on your wrist, because I'm gonna say it's not gonna be easy on your wrist. It's not gonna be easy on your arm. It's gonna be difficult, right? So again, you see I'm showing you the nice little mixing it. It's nice and light. I'm gonna continue mixing until it's soft. See that? So it's a nice thick mixture. You can taste it and see if there's enough sugar or not enough sugar. Again, it's just not baking. Is also one of those weird things. I know you have to follow a recipe, but hey, if it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you. So I'm gonna add half of the flour, right? The flour that I mixed earlier. I'm gonna add half of it in this new mixture, right? So at this point, we are now making the quick bread. I'm just gonna eyeball it. Just either you can either divide it in two if that helps you, but I just kind of eyeball things. It's terrible. That's why I'm not a good baker, honestly. I'm not a okay. I can bake. I'm not a great baker because I eyeball a lot, and that's why cooking is easier for me than baking, right? So I put half of my flour, the flour that I mixed earlier with cinnamon and baking soda and baking powder. I mix it in the new mixture where there is oil, half-cup of oil, 2 cups of sugar, and butter. So now I'm gonna add my 1 cup of buttermilk. That's right, you heard it. Buttermilk, 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 buttermilk. I'm gonna add a half-cup of buttermilk. Again, here I'm gonna go check on my pears and my oven to make sure that I turn the oven so 300 degrees Fahrenheit. I am going to add my eggs. I'm gonna add yellow yolk eggs in there. Okay, mixing. That's still half of my mixture. I'll keep mixing and mixing and mixing. And I will add the remaining of my flour. Again, mixed and mixed and mixed and mixed. So again, my 2 eggs, they were beaten, 2 regular again, room temperature eggs. I don't know. I always feel like when it comes to baking, it's easier to bake with room temperature ingredient than a non-room temperature ingredient. So again, room temperature eggs. I went to ahead and bring my pears. They are not too brown. They still have their natural color, but they are softer. It's really up to you. I've seen people have them bake longer and have it at a brownish color. I just want them to be soft, right? So at this point, I'll use a spatula. No, nice and soft. It's oily. You can just dump it all, but like you want to softly put them in the mixture. So your quick bread mixture, which has oil, butter, sugar, flour, and all of those good stuff. Now slowly put them in so nothing is squishy before it bakes. Again, it's not a big deal if it becomes squishy, right? Because at the end of the day, it's gonna end up tasting just the same, if not better, if it's squishy. But I'd rather not have squishy, right? I'd rather have those chunk of pears in my bread. So slightly, like slowly and gently, right? Mix it, right? You really don't try to mix it too hard. I will show you how. I'll bring something else to mix it with. So you are not trying to really mix it the same way I was mixing the quick bread. It's gonna be gentler, and it's almost as if you're trying to coat and cover the pears with uh the bread dough. It's not really a dough, it's the bread or the yeah, the bread dough, I guess. It's not really not a dough. That's what we are going for here. So again, slowly. I want to check on my oven and make sure it's ready. With that, so my pan is already greased. Slowly cover it. See how I'm covering it? So that the pears will be somewhere in the middle. Right? And just, there we go. I'm not mixing too harshly. So not to get the pears too mushy. Just nice and slow. On the side and covering the pear that's mostly in the center of the bowl. So at this point, I will take my baking pan, my bread baking pan. Can use really any size, but this is always better. It's gonna look nicer. And add your mixture. So my pan is already oil and greased. You can use butter. I just used the remaining oil that I had in my cup, or from the half a cup of oil. Just slowly put in there. Don't leave anything in your bowl. Hey, you worked so hard. You are not going to leave anything in there. So again, slowly scrape everything. You own it. You've made it. You're gonna use all of it. Because listen, first of all, it's gonna be easier to clean anyways. You can just soak it up in the sink. So I'm gonna take everything, because everything is gonna count, especially if you are feeding a lot of people. Everything counts. So there we go. I think that's good enough. I'm gonna cover my pears so they're not on top and so they won't burn. Cover them slightly, nothing too harsh. Now, when I even it out, I'm gonna take my crust. That is actually not at the bottom, right? It's at the top. I'm gonna sprinkle on top all of it. So here we have the old-fashioned oatmeal, and we have brown sugar, butter, right? Butter. And what else do we have in there? We have the crushed almond and some vanilla. Again,